Michelle, would you turn one of those on? Okay. Turn one of those on so you can. There you go. All right, we'll start out with roll call first.
Commissioner Coates? Here. Commissioner Milne? Commissioner Nicolason? Commissioner Laird?
Present.
Chairman North?
Here. Larry, would you lead us in a word of prayer, please? Everything. We need a lot of help.
I think God knows what we need. Just do
Yeah.
the best you can, Larry.
Yep, that's right.
We just thank you for a beautiful day. Thank you for the opportunity to gather here and utilize the talents with which you have blessed us to glorify you in the decisions we make. Appreciate the challenges you provide. Give us patience. Patience lets us seek wisdom, and the wisdom allows us to understand. Understanding gives us discernment. Discernment gives us the opportunity to facilitate, to undertake, and to execute. Pray, dear Lord, that everything that will be done for your glory. Pray, dear Lord, for your guidance and your direction. Thank you for your love. May we be a conduits of that love in the decisions we make. Allow us to make those decisions for the betterment of our community and the betterment of your glory and your kingdom. Thanks for allowing us to be stewards. Thank you for putting these gentlemen in the position that they're in to make decisions. And thank you for the decisions they've made. Thank you more for the decisions they'll make in the future, which will glorify you. Just be with them, help them, be with their families, be with everybody in this room. Dear Lord, and their families. Just give them assurance. Thanks for your love. Just be with us today and guide us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it a lot.
Would you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? This time I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Okay, we are now in executive session. All right, we're going to get started back. Now, Jim, would you like to start out with, we did have some discussion and we will take action. Jim's going to propose motion.
I suppose. So we opened up some proposals, and I'd take a holy cow. So I'd take or make a motion to accept the Bureau Veritas proposal that we received today, with condition that we investigate a little further into upgrade options.
I'm going to second the motion, but what we're voting on here is hiring a company that goes out and evaluates some of our older buildings, which they're all old, and tells us what may need to be done as far as maintaining them for the next few years. So we have an idea about what to do with our budget and things like that. And I think they want 37,000. We had bids from 200,000 to 37,000. So naturally, we're taking a lower one, which we don't always do, but I think we really need to do this, and so that's why I'm seconding it.
Do we have any other discussion on that?
Yeah, actually now, now that we had a motion and a second discussion, as Dallas says, this is for the property management and professional services within about 5 of our buildings. To move that forward, to try to establish a schedule of maintenance and routine in order to help be fiscally responsible, in order to keep that equipment running and updated, so that in the end it will actually cost the county less money to operate on a daily basis.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? So moved. All right, we're going to move on down to the historical preservation and our appointments on the different boards. Casey, did you want to?
I'd make a motion for appointments to the Historic Preservation Commission to reappoint Daniel Bailey, to appoint Lisa Ingebrigtsen, to appoint Elizabeth Erickson, and Charney Sasha to the Historic Preservation Commission.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by Mr. Milne. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. All right, you have another.
And I'll make another motion concerning the Board of Trustees of the Natrona County Parks and Recreation System to appoint Stacy Ziedler to our vacant position.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved.
Is her appointment take effective immediately?
Yes. Yes, it does. We have a vacancy, so she'll. Okay, with that,
Since it's
yeah, you can make your motion.
So I make a motion that we nominate John Hatcher to take the next vacancy on the Natrona County Parks Board.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
it may be a little early to make that, but I think it'll be okay. We do still have other applicants to, just remind the board that we do have other applicants to interview for. We have other applicants to interview for those vacant positions as well. So this may be a little preemptive, but I'm not opposed.
Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
right, all opposed? So moved. All right. I don't think we're ready to do the appointment for the health department at this time. It was recommended that we interview the candidates that we have before we make that motion. So we're going to vacate that at this time and move on. Rita, would you like to jump in on any of this?
Good afternoon, again, gentlemen. I can give my legal update now. I'm not sure if you wanted to go back and have Mr. Hegler speak.
I think that would be good.
Okay,
Since we have that on the agenda tonight,
Yes.
that would be good.
thank you.
Mike, would you come mind? I see you have your cohort there. Would you mind coming up too, Tom? No. There you go.
Working? Oh, yeah. Thought we'd share. Very good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll speak today on the safety concerns of the Coates Road, County Road 503, which is about 2.6 miles long. It's posted at 35 miles an hour. We made improvements along with the city and the residents here a year or two ago. We put in about $787,000 of improvements. Other than that, the road was, a really crude road from the very beginning, and we just added base to it, and then we paved a portion of it where it comes out of the city and goes into the county. The traffic count on that road is about 455 cars per day, which is really more residential type traffic than some of our other roads. They have 3,000, 4,000 cars a day. The accident history to the most recent counting is 5 accidents, and most of those were, slide offs and fender bender type things. There weren't any fatalities or anything like that. The road does get dusty, and it requires mag application once a year, and it holds up pretty good to the residential traffic. The other drawbacks to it is in the winter, we have high winds up there. We have a lot of drifting and a lot of whiteouts. So there's days that it's, pretty tough atmosphere. It requires a lot of plowing, and since we paved it, it requires sanding down there where you come down to CY Highway 220. It can get real slick at that stop sign. So that's an issue. There are flying rocks just from the residential traffic going up and down, eject out from under tires and hit things, hit other cars because of the gravel road. And there's residential traffic entering from all the side roads, which they really don't have stop signs on them. They're just residential driveways. They're long ones. And there's a school bus turnaround. It's down on the city portion, but we built a little turnout there, but the bus still has to turn around 360 degrees to go back out. So it turns onto the road and crosses it, turning in and turning out during the school year. One of the other issues with the road is where you approach CY at the stop sign, what we call stacking distance for traffic is very short. there's driveways that get impeded if the stacking goes beyond 160 feet. So, you know, if one vehicle's sitting there, and depending on the length of the vehicle, or the number of cars, you know, backs up because you can't get out on CY to make a left hand or right hand, well, then you're blocking some driveways issues. And the turning lane onto CY is very limited in acceleration lane, what we call acceleration lane. That's a wide-out highway, but, you know, general residential traffic does very well with it. There are days that there's a number of cars there trying to accelerate. There's also cars coming up the hill from Robertson Road that are doing 45 miles an hour, and there's some kind of a conversion there at times. And then there's no acceleration lane, which I already said that, but there's not an adequate turning lane when you come off of CY, even for residential traffic. There's days that people are stacked in that turning lane on the state highway trying to get into Coach Road. And they're turning across traffic that's, again, coming 45 miles an hour at them, or more. The sight distance there isn't the greatest when you're looking towards Robertson Road, especially with the people that have already passed the green light and are coming up there. You know, it's, if you're going to try and get out there, it's a challenge at times. The road width is basically 24 feet wide. It serves the residential traffic very well. You know, the road's probably built where it would handle 26,000 pounds traffic. Most residential streets are built for 16,000 pounds. But the paving section that's in there is kind of based around that 16,000 pounds, which is vehicular traffic, residential type traffic, not repetitive trip counts from heavy loads. Gravel portion's basically the same way. I mean, it's just 6 inches of gravel that we put on that road. The road is also a dead-end road. I mean, once you're in there, you end up on private property, and there's no turnaround there at all. You'd have to go into the private property or go off the road to get turned around up at the south end. And there's also been days or period of years that cattle have been run in there in section 16. And that, you know, they're free range, so they're out there everywhere. And then we have people that ride horses, bicycles, jog. They go up there to that state section and you know, take off through the country, have a good time on the trail. And but that's primarily the issues with the road the way it is today. The safety issues that, you know, that seem to work well with residential traffic. I don't know, Mr. Brower has anything to add to that?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Tom Brower, City of Casper, Chief Operating Officer. I think Mr. Hegler covered everything fairly well. Basically, the city has a little section in the middle, quarter-mile of paved roadway that was paved in 2021 as part of the local assessment district, where the property owners kicked in with city and county money to pave that. Basically took the existing base course that was there, you know, rebladed it, added some to it to kind of freshen it up. Really good base for that road, and then put 4 inches of asphalt on the road. There's no curb and gutter. And again, overall, the road's in very good condition. It is classified in the city as a residential road, or not as a collector or an arterial. And really, it's kind of the sandwich in the middle of the meat on the sandwich. The other end is the county section, which is gravelled, and then down YDOT controls the intersection there with CY Avenue. So other than that, I think Mr. Hegler covered all the issues and that I'm aware of with the road. I will apologize. Alex Fada was supposed to be here, the city engineer, but he's was leaving on vacation. I told him I would be glad to cover this so he could join his family on their vacation.
Just out of curiosity, how much did that cost to pave that portion?
I got that here somewhere. Well, the engineering originally was 83,000, and then, that was when we gravelled it. That project was, the city involved was, the 4 inches was 244,150, 4 inches of paving. Our portion was 128,108, and then the property owners had 116,000 and some change in that.
So the owners the landowners on both sides have skin in the
Participated.
game because they put money into that as well as the city and the county. And, so they have a legitimate reason to complain or to protect that as far as heavy truck traffic.
Yeah, they were assessed for the portion, their portion.
Okay. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you for coming. I apologize if I start whatever. I guess one of the questions I have, I've got a couple. One of the questions I have though is, and maybe I'm missing something or have missed something, but I haven't really heard the city's position as a definitive position of, hey, we don't want this heavy truck traffic, it's residential, or anything like that. What is the city's position, definitive position on heavy truck traffic on that portion of their road?
Chairman, Commissioner Milne, as far as I know, the city has not taken a hard position on this road other than to purely state the facts. And for me, as a staff member, that's what I'm here, just to present the facts.
Well, and that's my point, is you're saying you're baloney in the middle. It seems like the city's trying to straddle a fence and let the county deal with it. It'd be nice to have the city involved in this as well, since they are co-owners of the portion of this road. If you could take maybe something back, or if Ray's watching or whatever, maybe the city needs to take a position on this as well, not just leave it up to the county. Thank you.
No, I'll relay that to the city manager.
I
If
have
you
a
would.
comment,
Um,
Chairman.
Almost done. Sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, first, thank you for handling that gravel out there. The other thing though too is you're saying we're doing dust control on Coates Road, and this kind of just keyed something in my brain. Sorry. Off on a rabbit trail here real quick. Can you provide us with a map with all the sections of the roads that are having, like, take a highlighter or whatever on the map and just show us what all portions of the roads, different roads in the county that are receiving the MAG treatment? I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
So I have,
Because it's not only that short section, but it's also coming out onto CY. And that's something that would affect the county as far as, and I know that's a state highway. So the state would actually have to be involved as far as that portion of it goes. And whether they put another light, my understanding is way too close to put another light since you have one right there on Valley. And you also have on Robertson, is that correct?
My understanding is they said they wouldn't put another light in.
Okay, well, I guess that's what I'm asking, is that you've had more conversations with the state than I have. So did they say anything to you about expanding the turning lane or doing anything else if they did that? And obviously those trucks can't go across Robertson Road, so they're gonna have to turn and come through the middle of town no matter which way they go.
As far as I know from my conversations with YDOT, they have not received a request for a permit, an entrance, anything additional there. And they really, when you're working with YDOT, what really triggers their response is somebody asking them saying,
Right.
hey, if we want to do this, the last one I can remember working with YDOT was Blue Ridge Coffee up there across from Yesnes Pond.
Yep.
And they said, hey, we want to put another road in here. And they said, oh, we're going to mandate that you have a right turn only out of there and that you have an acceleration lane for the traffic that's going, what would it be, eastbound on Wyoming Boulevard.
So how much does the city have how much influence does the city have on that? You know, when they come before the city, I know when somebody wants a turnout, they have to get it approval from the county to come off a county road. How much does the city have? Because that's coming off a city road at that point onto CY.
Mr. Chairman, in general, that's YDOT's governance. So let me give you another example. Casper Mountain Road between Wyoming Boulevard and the new YMCA. The discussion of a developer wanting to put an additional road off of there onto Casper Mountain Road. That section of Casper Mountain Road between the YMCA and Wyoming Boulevard is a YDOT section. The city could not go in there and put another connection off of that road. That's roadway is governed by YDOT. So the same way absolutely with CY Avenue. The city is not going to govern that road or control access or what is required on the state infrastructure for accel, decel, turning movement signals. And again, for YDOT to look at it, they would look at a traffic study, the number of counts, and then the MUTCD to determine what is warranted there to make it a safe intersection.
Okay. All right.
Well, I
Hey,
have a
go ahead.
question. So, what was your dad's first name?
Bill,
I knew him well. Good guy. I thought you looked just like him when you came walking down the aisle there.
blessing or curse?
So I have talked to Carter and your mayor, and they have been watching this, and they're well aware of the situation, and I think have it in hand of what may happen, waiting to see probably what happens after Thursday's meeting. And the YDOT guy was in here and said pretty much what you said. They don't like to speculate on these things until somebody makes a request, but having had several other issues like that, yes, there's an issue with lights and turnarounds and all of that stuff and where the traffic ends up. So it's kind of a complicated situation. And so what we're particularly looking at is we're taking a look at the safety of all of our county roads, not just one. And we think that it's important. You've got to start somewhere, you know. And so one of our duties under the state statute as commissioners is to make the county roads safe for our residents and to keep them safe, actually. So I don't think I need to have any more. I rely on Mike Hagler to tell me what the road conditions are and what kind of safety we should consider on these kind of roads, because there are kids playing in the street, people riding bikes and horses and dogs playing, and to have 100 or 200 big old trucks running down there every day, I think the place, you know, it's in some places they require everything be paved and properly put in order. So those are other issues we have to face. So thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, Mike.
You're welcome, Commissioner Coates.
So to, I guess, continue off of some of Commissioner Laird's comments there, this is geared toward improving the safety, infrastructure management of roads in Natrona County, not just Coates Road.
Right.
Albeit, you know, Coates Road's included in that. This is really about protecting the county's assets as roads go. So I guess my first question is I guess to both of you, because you're both subject matter experts, but I would think that the county has an interest in some kind of a policy to protect its roads, and to do so following zoning and, you know, health, safety, and welfare. Would both of you agree with that the county has an interest in protecting its roadways?
Well, we're directed to.
Correct.
I mean, so by statute, so.
Right. And I guess the second question to that would be, Mr. Hager, last time you were before us talking about an issue similar to this was, you know, zoning to some extent would regulate what traffic is allowed up certain roads. Would you still agree with that kind of an impetus? You know, if certain industry isn't allowed in certain areas, why would we allow that kind of traffic on those roads?
Well, I totally agree with that. If it's zoned, that, you know, that doesn't allow it, then it shouldn't. I mean, there may be a one-time use for some particular issue, but that's short-lived.
Sure.
It's not every day.
And is issuing permits something that that your office could handle, tracking that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you.
What year was your dad a county commissioner, do you remember? Because he appointed me to 2 jobs I'll never forget. It was in the 80s, 70s and 80s? Because he called me and he said, we need you to put you on the airport board. We have some issues out there. So I said, okay. So then I got that taken care of and he called me up and said, we want to talk to you. He said, would you like to quit that board? I said, yes, I would. He said, will you go on the Wyoming Medical Center board? And I said, yes, I will. And I went up there and did what the commissioners asked me, and I lasted a couple, 3 years there, and they let me go, and I was happy. And your dad was a great guy.
Divided that into dollars.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody called him and said, hey, we need to go through our records, we knew how much money they had budgeted.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
We have the letter of support for the Wyoming,
Excuse me.
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
Chair
go ahead.
again.
Go ahead.
Just because we're sort of on the same topic and it's on the agenda, and before Mr. Hagler leaves, which he can never leave, we know, but were you still liking or wanting to discuss the resolution adopting a policy regulating heavy traffic on designated residential access roads?
We kind of covered both of that in that it wasn't just Coates Road we were talking about.
Right.
That's what Commissioner Coates was bringing up, is that this is actually, that we're actually looking at everything.
So
Right.
Do we need a motion of some sort?
Well, if we want this resolution to go out for the 45-day public comment period, yes,
Okay.
please,
All right. So do we have
the resolution.
all right, do we have a motion?
I make a motion for the resolution to go out.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
as one of the concerns that we have, I believe the resolution isn't a bad idea. I'm concerned or think that it does need to be adjusted a little bit, potentially before it goes out to public consumption, primarily since people have such an issue with clean copies. I think it needs to reflect that the Road and Bridge Department may recommend and advise the BOCC as far as what roads need what, but in the end, it needs to be the BOCC that actually makes that decision to put those restrictions or special permits onto that road, not just leave it into a department hand, as it'll affect the public. 1, 2, I think we should add or modify the formatting of the resolution a little bit so that the resolution is the overall umbrella that is going to be viewed at this point. But then in addition to it, there should be like an addendum in the back of it or such, where roads can either be added or removed as required by the county's needs and concerns for health and safety. That would be my two points. Is those should be probably added before it, like I said, it goes out for consumption, since people have issues reading red line copies.
Okay.
Comment?
Okay, go ahead. That would be a friendly amendment to
Yeah.
the motion.
That's just a discussion. If you wanted an amendment.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if you would like for that to be amendment, we can request that, and
It was just for discussion, but I can make it an amendment if you.
do what
My
Commissioner
discussion
Ritter
is,
first.
when I read this, I think it covers exactly what he's concerned about. This is an umbrella sort of thing, and it discusses our duties under this statute. So think it's well done, and we should, vote yes on it.
Okay. Right along with this, I want to make sure that everybody understands that this will go out for 45 days of public comment. This won't necessarily be the final version. We will adjust it according to any public comment that we have that we agree on. And we can amend that portion. So because of that, this isn't going to necessarily be the finalized version, because it does have to go through the 45 days before we adopt this. So it won't be adopted until our meeting in July, or our second meeting in July. So,
Sorry about that.
all right. Any other comments at this point? Okay. Since we have a motion,
Call for question. That means to
That's-
vote on it,
that's what I was gonna do.
okay?
We have a motion. All in favor? Moving forward, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It is, we have moved forward, so we have adopted this resolution to go forward for,
With the changes that Commissioner Milne suggested,
No, it's a,
No.
as is.
as is. Okay. However, we can keep any of your all's suggestions in mind for the next 45 days.
yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, and we can put those down and clarify them so that
Yes.
we're clear to make sure that we have those included, because there's a couple other things that we need to look at also, but this gets the 45 days started,
Yes.
and so we are moving forward on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Please make sure you add those somewhere.
I do. I
Comment.
wrote them down.
Okay. My long meandering.
No, I wrote it down.
Okay.
Yes.
Madam Attorney, do you have anything else at this point in time?
Want to make sure, look at the quick legal update. With respect to a follow-up on Commissioner Coach's question regarding reimbursement by the state, I spoke to Campbell County. They have done it before. No one's really sure if it's been allocated for this year, and I have not had a chance to in-depth figure that out. But it has been done as recently, I believe, as 2023. So good catch on that. And then with respect to the short-term lease and the city, I did email that back to them with our suggestions and concerns. I have not heard since. And that was, I believe, last week. And we are getting ready to launch our public records request. I think the big word is portal. I'm not sure if I'm using the exact IT words, but here soon. And we are still working on the contracts and 2 policies for you all to consider on June 17th that are in the works that we talked about, the public protecting privacy in public places and the concealed carry. And then just as a reminder, the BOE hearings are right around the corner. At this point, I did talk to Tammy, and she said at this point we have less than 15, and 7 of them would be an oil company. So nothing like the past few years, but we still do have to prepare for them.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. Letter of support is the next thing we have here on here for the Wyoming's 250th anniversary, and the grant. And what they're looking at is basically just a virtual. They're looking for a letter of support from the commissioners. It won't cost us anything, and this comes from the state parks. And all they're wanting to do is for us to endorse them to do that. Basically, it's a virtual trip all the way down the Oregon Trail. And so, any discussion on that? Were you going to cover, Lita, were you going to cover the gambling responsibility?
Sure, I could do that, sir. This is another one of those MOUs or contracts we've had in the past where the county donates, well, it looks about $54,000 to responsible gaming for the gaming commission responsible gambling behavior, that big phrase, and that is up for the BOCC's consideration.
When, do you know when we have to make a decision on that?
I did not see a date. Michelle, did you see a date? Oh. I don't recall a date, but we can
Yeah.
find it.
Oh,
I need a clarification.
Anna, do you know anything about that as far as that distribution? Because I know it's very limited. Come on up, please.
I
I'm
just
gonna
need,
make
I
you come
just
up.
need
You
a,
came all the way down here. I'm gonna make you hobble down here.
Oh,
Chairman,
jeez.
I need a legal clarification. Is this something we have authority to do
Yes.
by statute?
No later than the 15th day of each month.
Okay, so we have to make a decision, and basically this has to be limited. I mean, it's very limited on what we can and can't do with this, if I remember right.
Commissioner Laird, there's not a specific statute, of course. However, the VOCC can choose to fund, I guess, projects or
Yeah,
community events or,
this is not coming out of our general fund. These are allocations that are presented, and then we can eat.
Who pays the money?
It comes from the gambling.
We can impose
So,
something
yeah.
additional to on it?
No. All this is an allocation, but it's limited on what you can do. You'll have to turn that on.
Thank you. Basically, we've had this is our third year. You have the choice to say you're not interested in receiving the funds, which some counties choose to do that, or we are able to say, yes, we're interested in receiving those funds. In the last 2 years, the health department has received those funds, which we do the programmatic marketing. We work with Central Wyoming Counseling Center for training their therapists. And this year, we'd really like to work on youth and gaming, as that's kind of a new trend that is starting to present great challenges. So it is, you choose to do it or you choose not to do it, basically. And it's just coming straight from the monies received from gambling, and it's based on population. So that's why we get the 54 or 52,000.
So you already got the program in place and everything else, so you've made all the requirements. So basically, all we're doing is confirming
That you'll,
that we're going to accept the money and it's going to go to
Yep.
the appropriate place.
yes, we do provide reporting to the Department of Health, which we're happy to provide for you also. It just talks about how the funds are being utilized, evidence-based. 50-some thousand doesn't pay for a position or anything like that. So we try to make it work across marketing and then some person's time to be able to work with the different gaming entities. Our first year, we looked at how many we had in this county, and I think that's something that we need to do again. I know it's a double-edged sword that we receive funding to support some of the things that goes on in the county, but also addressing people who have issues with problematic gambling.
Mr. Chairman, how much money have you gotten in the past?
It's been right around 54,000.
How much?
54,000.
And that's what it is this year, a little over 1,000. So, so I guess we need do we need a motion? Go ahead.
Anna?
Yep.
Thank you for coming down. Yeah, this isn't a tax or anything like that, is it?
It just
Doesn't
basically,
come out of my property tax,
no, it is a direct
Commissioner
from the
Laird's
gaming.
sales tax.
Yeah, it's the gaming.
When he buys another
Revenue or something
Mercedes or
like that.
anything like that,
No,
nothing like
no,
that.
nothing like that. Basically, kind
New
of,
airplane for his daughter or anything like that?
nothing like that. Yeah, it's just directly from the gaming commission to us based on population to the Department of Health. So it's basically a pass-through like our community prevention grant that we received from you guys.
Appreciate that clarification. Some of these things that we have come through, we don't always know just exactly what the background is or what they are, and it's a whole lot better to have it so that we discuss it and everybody's aware that this is not something coming out of the county budget. It's something that's coming from the revenue that produced from gambling.
Gaming, yep.
So,
So the easy way to say it is this isn't costing the county taxpayers 1 cent.
Well, unless they play gaming, right?
but it's helping the county.
Will anybody complain about it if we do it?
I would hope not. I would hope that we can help at least one person or something like that, yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Anna?
It's always a surprise to us. I see it on the agenda. That's how I knew to come today because it's never
Yeah.
set.
So, okay. All right, I guess we probably need a motion.
The motion to request funding as allocated. Responsible gambling.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Coates to accept these funds. A second from Commissioner Milne. Do we have any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
All opposed? So moved. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down, Anna.
Thanks. Sorry to make you hobble down here.
I am a little confused by one of the way that Commissioner Coates phrased this about responsible gambling. I was kind of wondering what that meant.
That's what it says.
I know, but what is it?
That's on gambling, yeah.
You can
If
do
you-
it responsibly?
If you, yeah, so. Okay,
Did you guys approve the letter of support for the YO 250 or, because
Yeah.
if you did, can I have a
I
motion?
thought we did.
please?
We didn't? Okay, so we need to make a motion on support for the letter.
I make a
For the
motion to support the YO 250 virtual walk.
Do I have a second?
Second, don't want to make Dallas lean forward.
All right, so we have a motion to approve, a second from Commissioner Coates to a motion, and second from Commissioner Milne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we got that covered. All right, at this point in time, I think we're moving forward to Michael Brown and Eileen.
I have 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, we're gonna take you guys can sit there and just look at us for a minute.
We can do that.
Commissioner Milne gets back. Okay. Um, this is the discussion on moving forward and what it's gonna take as far as MOU or, this is something that we haven't really discussed. So,
No, it's not.
and we need to discuss it.
Okay.
So,
So looking for some clarity on the transition, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you, on the transition of the separation of the Parks Department into the statutory board, how that relates to IT, infrastructure, and other things. And my thought was perhaps an MOU would add, set the expectations, define the responsibilities, and set some priorities. I recognize that this transition will take some time. Also recognize that it's not entirely clear yet as to exactly how that's going to look because the board is not fully seated yet. So with that said, how would you like to proceed with the conversation?
my personal feelings is that we need to know kind of the costs associated with it, how that separation needs to take place or where. I don't think anybody thinks that it needs to happen overnight because that would be a wreck.
Yes,
I think
agree.
everybody agrees with that. I think we do need to have an end date, for whatever our MOU is, saying at this point, we're going to go through and support the outside board up to that point. But once we get to that point, then they're on their own. And that gives them a time frame that they can go through and start setting things up, start working on it and moving forward. I'm a firm believer that if you don't have a target goal, then you'll never hit it. And so, go ahead, Mr. Mound.
Excuse me. Thank you. I think what I'd like to see personally is maybe a scope of what your required needs are, right? Maybe work between the two of you, figure out what you need, then financial cost of that scope as far as equipment, assistance, personnel, whatever it takes to get up and running, and then potentially a flow chart or some sort of path finding to reach chairman's end date, right?
Right.
So what steps do we need to complete? What sub-target goals do we have? And where can we accomplish those in a reasonable amount of time? Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. And I think priorities of the board are a big factor into defining that scope.
Right. So,
Commissioner Millen, if maybe we could get a little clarification on that. Are you wanting that information just for how this outside board transitions from the IT department or transitions out completely?
it'd be awesome to have it for completely eventually, right? But we're talking IT right now, so that's where I'm looking my focus at is just what do you need to transition IT out, or what you need to make that step successful. The equipment, the personnel, the expertise, the assistance, whatever it is. Once you can figure that out, you should be able to put a price tag to it and be able to help us figure out that scope as well financially.
And just for clarification, I'm sure there will be some areas that IT will still have to support, even with the separation. And what I'm thinking about is the security at our lodge and things like that. I think that's something that, the camera system, I think that's something that IT will still have to work with us, work with the board and support that side of it.
Okay, that's where we need the clarity on responsibilities.
Yes, we
So-
do. But I mean, I'm not saying all the way across the board, but as far as there are a few items, because that's a county facility.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
And Lita, this is kind of bringing you into the conversation too. I'll let you just listen. So for you guys, would it be a MOU that would work best, or a SOP to have that relationship between the county proper and the Parks Department. We how do you foresee that working? To his point, to maintain some services, there needs to, with them being separate, potentially if we could get like a MOU, SOP, since we're all the same county or whatever, how do you foresee that maybe coming together so that there is a listed expectations
So-
and you know,
I'd
I'm
like a
trying
little
to say,
clarification from Eileen. Do you do any IT support for the airport or the library or the fairgrounds? Any of their building systems, security systems?
No.
Any of that?
No,
Okay.
not currently. So I guess it depends on how, if this board will be an outlier or if it will be treated as similar to the other outside boards. There's just a lot of things and moving parts with this, and I recognize
Yes.
that there
and-
definitely is going to be this transition.
and even during that transition, maybe even if it's a temporary SOP or MOU, that would be what would come about or something. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Just
no,
something to
there's some
list.
things that we as a board need to talk about, and get clarified as far as just exactly what that is. This is kind of a unique situation because, well, for a lot of reasons, this is a unique situation. And that's something that, you know, because it's not just IT, it's also maintenance.
Right.
It's also, I mean, there's a lot of things that we really have to, in Road and Bridge as far as that goes, because Road and Bridge has done a lot of stuff for the parks in the past, but if this is separation, we need to figure out just how much of that separation is going to take place, what the parks is going to be required to do, and you know what the county is going to be responsible for. So we've got, there's a lot of, you said it right, there are a lot of moving parts here,
Right.
and it's like throwing up a bunch of BBs in the air and trying to catch them all at once. It doesn't work very well. So we gotta get things kind of figured out as far as how we're going to do it and what we're going to do.
Should we presume that the Parks Department will remain in the location that they are at currently residing in? That is a factor in determining scope and costs. Because we're
Yeah,
starting up a new business.
Yeah, and that's basically short term. I can see that happening. Long term, there's probably going to be a move.
And is there a reasoning behind that relocation versus staying in a county facility that they've been in for a long time? Because that's a significant cost when you look at leasing office space, anywhere from $10 to $15 a square foot, and having access, proper parking access for campers and people pulling boats and
Yep.
and that type of thing, as well as county vehicles being parked there and whatnot. So
Well, I think that's a discussion that we have to have. That we're going to have, this board is going to have to decide where that separation comes in. We have not had that conversation as yet. And that's not just the Parks Board, that's actually the commissioners, because it's responsibility of the county. Anything that's, that the county has, we're gonna have to decide just exactly where that separation has to come in. And right now, we have not had that discussion. And at some point in time, we will have to have that discussion, but we haven't yet. Because there's a lot of moving parts here, like you said.
Where
we
to
need-
begin?
Yeah, we need that something written out as far as what that separation is all the way across the board. So we can look at it, find out just exactly where we can cover it, or we're not gonna cover it, and how we're gonna make that division.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
And so that's kind of to my point as far as having like a better word, flow chart or whatever with goals, sub goals, mile markers, whatever you want to call them, of where we're at with the end date and end goal. But you guys, you being parks and IT, would be like the pioneers or the starting point. We can see what works, what didn't work so well with you guys, between you guys, and then be able to formulate the rest of them with like Road and Bridge, anything else, any other support that you may be needing
Right.
out there, right? So if we were able to use you as the guinea pigs.
So we can go into this project with the understanding that this will be very
Fluid,
flu-
dynamic.
Fluid. Yeah, very fluid. Because we'll be beginning it with what we think, and that might not be the priorities of the board.
This is
So I
gonna,
have to have that understanding, and so I just want to
Yeah.
be sure.
this is gonna be a growing experience where there's gonna be a little pain where we do things that we shouldn't have done. And there's gonna be some comfort zones where everything goes really smooth. And it's gonna be a learning experience for all of us.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only way I know to put it. You know, there's certain things that we're just gonna have to go through and do a little at a time so that we don't make as many mistakes, so we can actually analyze it and look at it. So I don't think this is something that has to be done really fast. I think if we did that, we'd have a wreck. I think this is something that we need to progressively move through and address it.
With that in mind, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Commissioner Milne, you mentioned, the flow chart and such. Could you just define the basics and give us some guidance on just the basics? I think you did a little bit, but
Yeah, in my mind, it would be like, whatever, come down, identify the equipment
Okay.
needed,
All right.
right, personnel needed, and then from there you can identify how much financially what it's going to take to complete that goal, that prior mile marker. Establishing whether it's establishing a server or not or whatever, software, costs or requirements, if he's going to use 360 or purchase something, or, is there QuickBooks, is the whatever system out at the lake, reservation system out
right,
at the lake.
trails passes.
Yeah.
Yeah, security.
But
So you
just kind
want,
of break it down as to whatever, and
Yeah.
give yourself some goals, reasonable goals of okay, it should take us 2 weeks to figure this out, or I think we can do it in a month to get to this point or whatever, and just kind of give us an idea, a roadmap for us,
Yeah.
and also the Parks Board as far as what we should expect for progress.
within that, and that makes sense, thank you. Within that, then, I'd like to be able to line out responsibilities too,
Yes.
as well.
Yes, and I agree with that 100%. And this is just to add on to what Commissioner Milne said. It's going to be a little more difficult for Michael than it will for you because he's going to have to go through everything. But there are so many things that IT helps with, the website, the whole bit. And if that's something that we want to continue on, because we already have it set up, or if we want to break away, and do something different, but we just need a list of what we're looking at.
Okay,
Well, and Mr. Chairman, on that note, in early 22, we went through a similar exercise on this, and I do recall at that point the IT estimated cost to be a administrative board was around $140,000. That was for computers, phones, cell phones, phone lines, copiers, all of that. And so that was a rough estimate then. So my question is how are we going to fund this? Is this going to have to come out of Parks budget, or where are we going to fund this? It's going to be a fairly significant expense when we look at all of this. And so I throw that 140,000 out there as just kind of a sample of just what it takes for the Parks Board to be autonomous from the county and IT alone.
That's why we have to break down. That's what we need to look at, is have those kind of things broken down so we can analyze it. Like I said, I don't think this needs to be a clean sever where we're just automatically. I think this is going to have to take time. so that we can get that figured out. Because right now, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't
Okay.
think anybody really does. I think that's something that we have to work through.
Mr. Chairman.
Go
I have
ahead.
a comment. I think the statute encompasses this. And I think what you're looking at is a board, just like the airport board and all of the independent boards that are statutory in nature. And guess who funds it? We do. And so it is what it is. And we'll have to work that into the budget. But I think that, you know, it talks about people's salaries, everything else that we ran through at one period in time. I think it'll all be done. And I'm going to try to make it speedy. I don't want it to take a long time. I'd like to see it done properly, and I'm glad you guys are here telling us your thoughts. Because I'm going to make a motion here in a minute that's going to speed it up a little bit.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
also, and I know this has been talked about before, but just don't forget the payroll and the accounts payable portion of this move. You know, we do payroll for a couple of the component units. That would be child support enforcement and drug court. But as far as the other outside boards, the only payroll type service that we provide is there on our insurance. And so, you know, we have to do the reporting and whatnot for that. So I would be willing to help in any way that you need me to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So, okay. Any other questions?
What's your definition of speedy?
I'm gonna do it here in just a second, as soon as you guys are done.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
The part I have any control over.
So, the rest of it, I just want to make sure that we do it right. You know, I don't want to rush into things. I just want to make sure that what we do right, so that it's as smooth of a transition as possible. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I have a motion and a comment I want to make after the motion. I move that John Hatcher take the next available seat on the Parks Board. There's a second over here. Call for the question.
Did you? We have.
He seconded it.
He seconded. I was going to see if there was any discussion.
There isn't any.
Okay. All right. So all in favor?
Aye.
We did. We did.
We're redoing it.
We don't need to
Because
redo it, but if you
this
want to
guy
redo
over here
it, we
can't hear
will.
anything, so we redid it. So it passed. Everybody
Okay.
voted yes.
Yes.
So now here's the comment.
No, we don't. We already made
Just-
the motion.
just show that
It's
he
already
gets the
been-
next available
It's already
position.
been approved.
Now,
Right.
here's a comment. You need,
Are you thinking about
Hatcher.
Hatcher.
Hatcher at this time, but are you thinking of, what's her name?
No, we did both.
already did
We did
Stacy.
both. They were two separate.
Are you thinking about Stacy?
No.
We appointed
yeah, we
Stacy.
already, we already did. Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Yes.
straighten it all out. I hereby resign from the Parks Board, so Mr. Hatcher will be taking my place immediately. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's as fast as I could do it, Eileen.
Okay. All right.
2 people appointed and 3 to go.
Okay. So Lita, I guess we're back down to you and the advanced CAFR amendment.
Yes, and that is on your all's consent agenda, and it's my understanding that it's the new, basically new fiscal year amendment to the original agreement that was, I believe, from 1987 or similar, and it's just back in front of you all for approval, or not approval.
Okay, did we have some discussion on that? Okay, any discussion? Okay. Since that's on the consent agenda, we don't need any more, so we'll move forward.
Thank you. I do not have anything further unless you all have any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to adjourn into another executive session for
What kind of
legal discussions,
Personnel, legal advice,
legal advice. yeah.
litigation, that fits all of them,
Okay,
All of the above.
all of the above. It really does.
okay. All right. So we have a motion. We have second. All in favor?
Aye.
So, okay, we'll be back in executive session. Mike. Oh. All right. At this point in time, I'd entertain a motion to authorize the county attorney to hire outside assistance.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay. At this point, we will start the regular meeting. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We already did.
Okay,
That's fine.
This was our second Pledge of Allegiance of the day.
all right. At this point, we have motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Milne, second from Commissioner Laird. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we don't have any contracts or resolutions tonight, so at this point, we will move into public comment. Anyone that wants to make public comment, please come to the left.
Hate to see nobody speak. Greg Warger, 7,000 Coates Road. Commissioners, Mr. Chair. I just want to remind the board that we have a State Lands Board meeting on Thursday. And it would be great, and maybe your attorney is already doing that, but it would be great to inform the board that Natrona County no longer allows extractive mining in MR1 zones, of which 7 of the 8 leases are in MR1 zoning. There is one, however, in urban agriculture. It's the one that almost abuts Wyoming Boulevard at about the dental office up there on the swing. There's a vet shop up there. And so it almost abuts that to the west side of that. And so with a 100-yard lease road, he could mine gravel right there with a CUP. And so there is an avenue for him to gravel up on that face of that mountain if he so desires. But that's all I had for tonight. I appreciate all your help. And certainly you can Zoom call if you can't make it to Cheyenne. We have quite a contingent going over there this week. And I'm sure we'll be well behaved. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Anyone else for public comment tonight?
Have to take this device off. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. I was here all afternoon, again, to pledge allegiance to Alice. I have just a question, if you could help me out. There was this public comment period on the 45 days for the use of the road, the county roads, gravel, snow, heavy vehicles, whatever. When does that, is that approved? Is that happening? And when does the 45-day period start?
Today.
Is that?
Today,
Is
we,
make a
Sorry, I
decision?
apologize,
yeah,
Commissioner. We have to get that actually published for it to start, so,
yeah.
and also,
Publish it right away.
right, as
Please.
soon as this Casper Star Tribune allows, they have very specific and interesting rules on publication. So we'd have to look at the calendar, but once that gets drafted, we will publish it. And from that date, it will also be on our website. And then that will be the time frame of the 45 days.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Lita? Madam County Attorney, intern, whatever.
I'm not sure at this point, but yeah.
Question real quick.
Yes.
What's the rule on using Casper Star? Could we advertise it through oil?
With respect to, yes, at this point we have to, because it's the it's the designated paper, but it's also the only county-wide newspaper. Now, when we have an option, I have used Oil City, and I know Development has, but for these, they have to be in the statutorily appointed newspaper.
All right, so that would require the legislature to take that bull by the horns again, potentially, if they weren't scared of it.
Right, unless we're Mills and can find some loophole, as they successfully did. But we don't have that, so,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
Just a comment, there is a new editor at the Star Tribune, really nice guy, and the paper's changing, and it's getting noticed. And so I sure would like to see him get a chance at our business, because if you haven't met him, you should go down and meet him, because he's really a nice guy, and he and his wife are living here. And I'm getting a paper now I kind of like reading. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
Go ahead. Do what? Oh, yeah. Would you state your name and address for the record?
That's all I need. I want to thank you for that effort.
No,
You don't have to give your address anyway, but
give your
state your
name.
name.
State your name for the record.
Okay, my name is Walter Merschat, Merschat. I live at 6670 Coates Road.
Okay.
Okay, and the last, the other comment was, okay, we have 45 days, public comment, and then is that reviewed after 45 days and a decision made? Is it public review, or is it just the county commissioners?
It'll come before the county commissioners, and we will vote on it at that time to adopt.
Have public comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll be
yeah,
another
we'll
meeting
have
here with-
public comment. You can have written comments on that up till that point. We can look at everything, and then any additions that we do to it, we'll do that, and then it'll be adopted
Perfect.
or rejected at that time.
Okay, thank you
Okay,
very much for the
thank you.
time.
All right. Any other public comment? All right. With that, we'll go to commissioner comments. Commissioner Coates?
Have much tonight, but I just wanted to thank Lita for all the work she's doing. She's carrying an extremely heavy load and doing a fantastic job. So thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you.
Commissioner Mel?
So, yeah, I'd like to reiterate that. You're doing a bang-up job. You got my support. Do the office as you need to.
Thank you.
With that being said, over the weekend, down in Boulder, some crap took place that shouldn't have occurred in this country, because of whatever you want to call it, whether it's the illegal alien situation, whether it's radical religion, whether it's whatever. My heartfelt condolences, and people had to go through that, and it's not something that we should be seeing in our country. There's something that I'd like to read. It's a lot. It kind of reflects back to what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about. It's not. It's something written that is so much better than what I could put together. So, but it is something to think about. You can see religion as a battle, a holy war in which you win a victory for your faith by force or fear. Or you can see it as a candle you light to drive away some of the darkness of the world. The difference is that the first sees other religions as the enemy, The second sees them as other candles, not threatening mine, but adding to the light we share. What Jews remembered from that victory over the Greeks 22 centuries ago was not a God of war, but the God of light. And it's only the God of light who can defeat the darkness in the human soul. That was written by Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. I can't express it any better. That there are evil people out there that would commit such atrocities, and to not a protest, they were just in support of the release of hostages, release of people taken forcibly by other people that have a screwed up mindset, that believe that their evil works will benefit their culture, their people. It's wrong. And I don't know. I just wanted to say something about it. So CNFR is coming up shortly, and go team Casper.
Commissioner Laird.
So we're gonna keep trying and keep trying. And we have a good attorney who's looking after the county's interests up in Jackson. He was born here, and his dad was in a law firm here. And I know that you all have hired a good attorney who I know quite well. And so the board hearing, I understand the director of the land board recommended that they reissue the leases. I was told that. And a friend of mine who watches this stuff pretty closely has researched it, and he says that he couldn't find where the land board ever turned one of these down. So the issue is, in my opinion, probably going to be handled by the courts at some point in time. I think I said that a long time ago. And I know how our people of this county feel about this. And so we'll see, I guess, in the immortal words of Dave North, we're going to see what happens at some point in time. But we have been a little neglect on our road system here in the county. So we need to make our roads safe for our people. And so that's what we're about doing. This isn't just about one road. This is about a lot of roads in the county, all of the roads in the county, because the statute says all the county roads, we, the commissioners, are in charge of. And I, for one, want to make sure they're safe for our people, and that they're appropriately protected, because that appropriately protects the people that live along those gravel roads and paved roads and whatever we have out there. I forget how many miles of road the county has, but it's quite a bit. And so we're going to see to it that they're safe, and that means all of them. And so our acting county attorney, I think she's going to be good. I want her to be tough and fair, and not take any baloney from anybody. So we've got a lot of stuff going on in the county. It's got to be fair, and we got to do it in accordance with the common good and what our, at least for me, the people that the voters of this county expect. I got a year and about 6 months to go. I have a couple drinks on my last night, because I don't think after the meeting. Yes, after the meeting. Because I think that put in my 6.5 years for the county when that's done, and the city, and feel good about it. Appreciate y'all coming in.
it's hard to add a lot to that, but I do appreciate everybody coming in. I will be in Cheyenne on Thursday. And I believe there's a lot of things that need to be said in front of the board, in front of the SLIB board. Participated in a conference on state lands, and one of the things that I learned down there was that everybody that was at that meeting, and there was about 200 of us, all recognized that state lands are not just for development to make the most money. We have to look at everything that we do, recreation, especially in today's world. We've got a lodging tax to support bringing tourism to this state. We have a lodging tax to help bring it to this county. We're promoting outdoor sports. We've got an outdoor rec board now that's sponsored by the state to develop things for recreational purposes. We have to look at that and how much money that brings into the state, whether it's directly to the SLIB board, to the school system. That money comes back around through taxes and other things. It goes back to our school systems and everything else. It improves our way of life to have some of those open spaces, and we've got to preserve those. And there are certain areas, I'm not against mining, I'm not against development, but it has to be in the right place at the right time. And that's something that has to be looked at. And we have to promote that. We have to promote the things that are important to us. And when we had 20,000 signatures from people saying we need to preserve this area, we need to listen to that. And I believe this whole board is 100% behind that. We did send a letter down, and I will follow up on that when I go down and testify. I do want to thank Lita. She stepped up to a tough position and a tough situation, and she's taking the bull by the horns and running with it. And I appreciate that, and I want to give you credit for that. I know it's been a challenge, but hopefully it will start to smooth out here before too much longer.
Thank you.
And we've got we're moving forward on a lot of things we've been talking about. We've been talking about hiring a company for 2 years to evaluate our buildings because of the age of them and everything else. We've got a maintenance supervisor that has looked into it and found a good solution, found a good company to do it. And it's going to make a lot of things a lot better for us. So I do want to thank everybody, all of our crews, all of our department heads, all of our elected officials for doing the job they have and doing it well. And with that, I'll say good night. We're adjourned.
Thank you.